And we're back. He is Adam. I am James, and you were listening to Vets On with Adam and James, coming live from the iVetX studios here in lovely Scottsdale, Arizona. I want to thank you for joining us each and every Wednesday morning from 8 to 10 Pacific Standard Time, 11 to 1 Eastern Time, and 9 to 11 Mountain Standard Time. You can find us at vetsonmedia.com. You can go to our YouTube channel, Vets On Radio. You can watch us, listen to us. We're also on iTunes and Podbean. If you're not watching live and you're listening to this later on, if you're listening to us, I highly advise you. And I was pausing for the effect, not because I wasn't looking for the words. So don't pick on me, buddy. I'm going to come over there and
I didn't say nothing.
Rock you in the face. But this is the first time we've ever done the Beef Stew segment for 2014, and because last month we were actually in Vegas.
Yes.
Vegas during this time. We're doing the show from the Palazzo for the Warrior Appreciation Night and the SHOT Show and that huge, the gun culture up there that we had a good time entertaining. Anyway, so this is the first Beef Stew segment. You're wondering what Beef Stew is. Maybe you haven't read it. The blog that's on the Vets On Media website. Beef Stew is where we bring the American male back from extinction. You're wondering, you're like, well, what does he mean by extinction? I'm talking about the toilet seat down politics, you should drink Diet Coke and, watch your figure. No, we want you to be a man. So that's why we brought in Matt Pisarcik. Matt Pisarcik, and I said that correctly?
Yep.
He is the founder and owner of RazorEmporium, and I was looking at the website. I was like, this is some really cool stuff. And I was watching your videos last night on YouTube, prepping for the show. Mm-hmm. And my girlfriend's like, what in the hell are you watching? I said, woman, don't mind. You just put your nose back in that TV and watch Cougar Town or whatever the hell is you're watching.
Really didn't say that.
She beat me. And then I had to call for a battered husband's, counselor. No, I'm kidding. I did tell her, I was like, well, it's show prep for tomorrow, and I really liked you were talking about cleaning your Badger brush and some of the other stuff. So let's talk about the business. How'd you get started? Where'd you come from? Where did this idea come from? And what is RazorEmporium?
Well, I kind of got started shaving like a lot of the guys out there, where I was just very unhappy with a cartridge razor, and my dad used electric, and he didn't really know anything about razors. And I started doing some research online, and people were saying, oh, there's this old school way of shaving. And this was back in like 2005. Okay. And there just wasn't a lot of information back then. And so I ended up going to an antique store and just asking an antique owner, like, do you have any of these old razors people, may have? And it wasn't popular yet. This was still kind of just developing. And he showed me some old razors, and I bought them for $30 or $40 here in Phoenix, and went home and started fixing them up and cleaning them and shaving with them. And I was like, this is just so cool. Yeah. How am I the only one doing this? And there were a couple people selling them on eBay, but it was still very novel at the time. And I just have always had this passion. I started collecting them, and my collection kind of got out of control, and I started selling a few off, and I realized, hey, I kind of got a business here. I can, buy and fix and sell vintage razors, and I started carrying the soaps and the brushes and everything else, and the website, was built in 2009, and just last year I left my day job, and I'm doing this now full time. Yeah, so it kind of just grew. It was just one of those passions that just kind of kept on flowering and growing.
How awesome is that? How awesome is that? So it turns out, one of our buddies, we run a kind of we call it the Military Media Mafia. Right. It's Vets On Media, our company, along with Tactical 16. Right. They're a book publishing company out of Colorado. Nice. And then we have Iron Mike Magazine, which is out of Texas. I guess they did an article on go ahead.
They didn't do the interview because Brian texted me. He's like, no, I didn't do the interview. They did write an article that we're going to be putting up on our Vets On Media website later today. Yeah. And you can also see it at the Iron Mike Mag.
Yeah. Or about militarymedia.com.
Or the M3, as we like to call it, Military Media.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess it's written about, kind of what you're doing.
And now, the revival is getting bigger and bigger. I kind of feel, and I've been telling people that it's a lot like microbrew was about 10 years ago. Yeah. Where if you would have walked into a party or told someone that you're into this thing called microbrew beer, they would kind of look at you like, that's interesting. I drink Keystone, or I drink Bud Light, or I'm drinking Heineken. And then, the guys who were holding the Stone were like, oh, we really should try this. But that's where shaving is right now. Shaving's at this place where a lot of guys are switching, but it's still kind of novel. But I see in the next few years it's going to be going mainstream. Absolutely. So let's real quick, I want them to follow along and maybe look at some of the items when we're going through it.
Sure.
Folks, for the folks that are listening or if you're watching right now, thank you so much. Open up another tab, RazorEmporium.com.
Yes, sir.
RazorEmporium.com. Follow along with us. I want Matt to kind of go through different items that you brought in the box because you were on Channel 7, 2 hours ago doing the same thing. So I'm glad it's kind of a media day for you.
Yeah, it's good.
Let's start with the first item. Let's talk about it. What do you got?
Well, I brought just a lot of different things with me. A lot of guys, think of me in terms of the vintage world because that's definitely my specialty. Razor Emporium kind of specializes in the vintage. There's not a lot of other. There's tons of companies online and in stores that sell the shaving products, but not everyone carries and specializes in the vintage. So I work with different collectors, and I'm a collector myself, and I buy large estates up, and we clean and fix and restore the vintage razors so that you can buy, and add to your shopping cart right now a razor from the 20s, a razor from the 50s, and it's all ready to go. It's sanitized and it's all cleaned up and polished.
Right from RazorEmporium.com.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just I'm probably the only vendor in the world that does that.
That is cool.
Yeah, man. Because your alternative is to as you did. You brought a razor in today that you got down in Globe, I think.
Yes.
And so, that's the alternative is you can go to an antique store and you don't ever really know what you're getting. And also you could shop on eBay, and again, you don't really know what you're getting. So I kind of created Razor Emporium to be a place where you can shop for vintage and be assured that it's just like a product off the shelf today, that it's all ready to go and shave ready, as it's called. But then we also have, the everyday product, this brand Icon. This is a brand new company that started maybe about 2 or 3 years ago out of Thailand. And they make some really well-made stainless steel, aluminum, really well-made products that we carry, and we were the first importer of the Icon line into the U.S., and now they're getting really big now. They have probably 30, 40 retailers throughout the world now. But so there are modern companies making this old school stuff, and they're doing it so well.
Okay.
And so that's another big my passion is to bring on the companies that are really emerging in this industry and help them grow as well.
What is this razor right here called? Is a model?
It's called the Shavecraft 101.
Shavecraft 101.
Yep.
Now the grooves here, and the only reason I'm asking questions, and Adam, feel free to as well, is because I'm ignorant to exactly what exactly it is. Like, where's the razor on this?
Let me show you.
Please.
You just hold this little head here, and you're just going to untwist the handle, and it comes apart into 3 separate pieces, and you put your blade right in there, and you close it right back up, and you're ready to shave. And that I can even put a razor on there if you like.
Yeah, I would like to say.
Yeah, just a little double-edged razor. And see, most of your listeners, if they are vets or if they're experienced gentlemen out there that have, they probably grew up shaving with stuff like this. And I run into guys all the time that said, "Man, I used one of those when I was 18 years old," or "I haven't touched one of those since I was in the military," or whatever. But it is the classic way of shaving. This is how men shaved for literally 70, 80 years. With double-edged razors like this. This was by far the most popular style of razor. So your cutting edge now is right there.
Okay.
And if I was to demonstrate, you see it just takes the hair right off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty safe.
Oh, yeah. It's called a safety razor for a reason.
Now, can you shave on both sides?
Yep.
Okay.
And that one's kind of neat because it has 2 different styles of head almost. And so, a lot of guys like one side's a little more aggressive, one side's a little more mild. So you can always start with the mild side and maybe clean up with the aggressive or vice versa. So it's kind of neat that it's double like that.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like a man already.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm always telling guys, why, put down the plastic vibrating razor, shave like a man.
Yeah.
Shave like you mean it. And get back to the way that your grandpa shaved, your dad shaved. And because I specialize in the vintage stuff, I'm always telling people, ask your uncle, ask your dad, ask your grandpa. I bet they have stuff like this still sitting around. And I get in. So half of my business is retailing and selling stuff, but then the other half of my business is restoration. So I'm probably one of the only guys in the world, again, that you can send that vintage razor in, and I make it look better than new. I make it look like it just came out of the factory because we do what's called our Razor Revamp service, and that's where we take it and polish all the original, metal and plating off and get it all down and recoat it in like a new metal. Like that's rhodium, and that's a really expensive high-end white gold.
Wow.
And so that's from the 1960s, but it looks brand new right now.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge service we do is the revamp service, and it's, anywhere between $50 to $75 to have your razors sent in and made brand new again.
What is the what are the numbers on that one right there? The one that's gold.
Yeah,
white gold.
Yeah, the white gold, the rhodium. That just is. It's a Gillette adjustable razor, and they were made for years. Like this. And what that little dial does, that dial increases the amount of blade exposure that's coming out. So it's a closer shave as you go up. 1 to 9, it gets closer and closer of a shave. So if you want to have that close shave experience, or you can dial it back down for a little more mild shave.
Wow.
So, that was what Gillette did in the 50s because, their buyer segment kept on asking, how can you just have one razor for everyone? And guys like this today are trying to do that with 2 different sides of the head, trying to make it appeal to, different audiences.
The care that's involved and what type of care is involved for those two?
Yeah, the vintage safety razors.
Yeah.
The best care you could ever really do on these guys, it sounds so basic, is an old toothbrush and some dish detergent.
Okay.
Because what happens when you use this with a shaving soap or shaving product, a cream, is that it's going to build up soap scum on it. And so just to get that soap scum off, an old toothbrush and some dish detergent, which helps break down that soap scum, is going to make it look shiny and brand new again, and also sanitizes it. A lot of guys try to get out the metal polish and they treat it like it's a gun or something and really try to go hardcore. They usually do more damage than good, and they send it to me to fix it. But really, for your average guy, washing with an old toothbrush and some soap, or even putting it in the dishwasher is absolutely fine to sanitize it and clean it up.
Huh.
Because steam cleaning works really well.
I see the brush in the back.
Uh-huh.
My grandfather has it's a white porcelain like cup, I guess, with the brush
exactly
in it, and it never ceases to amaze me. It's like one of the things that he has on his bathroom counter. And when I go home at Christmas time, you see that. And it's
smell that.
Wow, that's.
This is a soap from Scotland.
Ooh.
And we brought this into our store and helped this company grow as well.
Really good.
This stuff is made with handmade products, and a shaving soap like that, when you use it with a brush, a lot of guys think that the brush is some kind of decoration or some kind of accessory that's just kind of an old thing. It actually is going to make a tub of soap like this, which costs about $20. This tub should last almost a year. Seriously, that you
just barely put it.
Yeah, because it's like the difference if you're in your bathroom and you have a bar of soap and you make a lather versus if you have the pump. Always replacing the pump because it's all liquid.
Yeah.
Well, because this is a solid product and you use your brush to whip up a lather and you use a lot of water in the process, you're using very little product.
Yeah.
And today, the aerosol cans and stuff that came out in the 60s, companies like Gillette actually helped to push that. Take a look at this. Mr. Foamy, this kind of stuff, the little, aerosol cans, they don't really have a lot of product in them.
Yeah.
They're mostly just the aerosol can to help get it out. If you use something like this where it's all product and a brush, not only is that brush going to be, good for exfoliating your skin, lifting up the hair follicles, but it's also going to allow you to save a lot of money in the long run. So a lot of guys switch to this style of shaving, not just for the nostalgic purpose, but to literally save money. The blades run anywhere between 20, 30, 40 cents a blade, so It's already cheaper there. But then your product, you're not just constantly going through soap and throwing away cans. You just, use something like that.
That's really
we have a question from a listener.
Sure.
Okay.
And it goes back to the cleaning of the blades and stuff.
Yep.
Is it better to clean with vinegar?
Yeah, vinegar, anything like that. Vinegar is a really a good product to use because it, helps sanitize it. Rubbing alcohol is fine. If you find a razor at an antique store, and you're not sure if it's sanitary, I always say put it through the dishwasher. It's going to make anything sanitary. But then you could also put, the rubbing alcohol, the vinegar on it. That's fine. I always try to encourage people to use easy household products that they have and not try to have to go out and buy anything special because this stuff is really basic to clean.
Absolutely. That's pretty easy. This right here, is that actual badger? Is it really?
Yeah, badger hair.
Why badger?
Badger hair has been used for at least a good 120, 150 years for shaving brushes.
Okay.
One of the benefits of the hair is that it retains a lot of water. So when you're making this and you get your brush wet and then you load it up with some soap, it's going to hold a lot of that product down inside of the knot. And so you're not having to you're not just painting with it. People always try to think that they're doing this, and you're really more of scrubbing and more of building up a lather. And so it holds a lot of that inside. And because that, you feel how tight that knot is down in there.
Yeah.
And it just helps to really retain that water so that it lasts a long time. There are other products. There's boar hair brushes. There's horse hair brushes. There's synthetic brushes. But the badger is definitely the most popular because it holds the most amount of product.
Okay. Okay. Straight razors.
Yes.
Can we talk about straight razors?
Yes, we can. Straight razors are kind of the other half of the equation and a lot of fun for people. A lot of people interchange these terms. They'll call these straight razors, these are safety razors, and these came after. Mm-hmm. Straight razors really had their popularity from 1840s all the way up to maybe the 1940s. They, maybe a good 80 to 100 years of popularity. And, they're the traditional thing. People always think of them, the cutthroat razor and the blade. Straight razors, we specialize in that too. We sell a lot of them. We restore them for people all around the world. They send them to us to polish the metal and to sharpen them up. Straight razors are kind of the next level. It's kind of like the manual transmission. I tell people that owning a safety razor is like the paddle shifter. You get that experience, but it's still... Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
You get the experience, but it's still very much something that you're used to because it's a handle and it has a blade that you're used to changing. When you use a straight razor could literally last your entire life, and you can use that same razor. So the amount of metal on here, even if you sharpen it, every few weeks, every few months, you could own this razor for the rest of your life, and you never have to change it. But with that comes that responsibility. You can't drop it. You can't let it rust. You have to get it sharpened. You have to use a strop with it to keep it, maintained.
Now, what's a strop? Is that a strop in your hand right there?
Yeah, this is a little paddle strop that I brought with me because it's more portable than a hanging strop that most people are used to seeing. But a strop is simply the act of maintaining the edge, and you're hearing me kind of doing that right here. And all that's doing, it's kind of like you guys see when a chef gets ready to cook and to cut, they have the piece of steel they run it against. Now, that's not sharpening it. That's what's called aligning it. So imagine... Okay. Let me grab this piece of paper here from my box of toys. Imagine that edge of that straight razor is kind of like a piece of paper. It's nice and sharp and clean when you first start off, from it, it just got sharpened on a stone. But then after a while, after you're using it, your hair actually bends that metal around because your hair is very, very, very dense, and it's very wiry and raspy. It's about the equivalent of shaving through copper wire.
Okay.
Imagine your hair like little pieces of copper wire, almost like speaker wire.
Okay.
And when you shave through that, it really beats up your blade. It dulls your blade. So that blade ends up looking all messy and all out of control and not, uniform. So all a strop does, it doesn't sharpen, it just aligns that blade again. And it's almost like how a chef, he's using his knife to maybe cut through some meat or some bone or whatever, and then if he wants to cut a tomato, it won't even cut a tomato. You're like, I just went through meat. How does it not cut it? Well, because it's all dinged and bent, and if he just runs along that steel, it's aligned again. So,
Okay.
they have sharpening stones, and that's a sharpening stone. You can feel the top. It feels like glass.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's what you sharpen on, and that's going to take metal off of a straight razor.
Okay.
But this is what you do every day to maintain the edge. You use a sharpening stone every 2, 3, 4 months. And, some people will try to do that themselves, and it's really more of an art, and not even myself. I don't even sharpen my own razor because I have a guy in our shop that does it, a Hohenmeister. He's been sharpening for 12 years, and he's sharpened thousands of straight razors and knives and swords.
So every 3 to 4 months, you take it in, you have him sharpen it, and then you just
maintain it.
Maintain.
You just do the maintenance on it. It's kind of like with your car. You can change the oil and stuff, but you're not going to probably drop the engine out and remount the transmission or something. You can do some of the maintenance yourself, but you want to leave the heavy lifting for the professionals.
Wow. How wildly cool is this? I almost feel like I want to shave and then drink a beer at the same time.
You know what? A lot of guys, I know a lot of guys do that. And in fact, those two cultures, I always mention beer or scotch. They really go, or coffee making. This kind of stuff is all about taking back your manhood.
Yeah.
And getting, I always tell people, get in the driver's seat of your life. Stop being a passenger in your life. Experience things, do things, take a risk, use a straight razor. What's going to happen? You're going to maybe nick yourself? Oh, okay. Well, just put a little Steptic gel on that.
Yeah.
But don't just, I can't do anything new. I can't try anything. I encourage men to be manly again. Dress sharp, look sharp, feel sharp,
I couldn't agree.
So where could somebody, and again, this is a chance to kind of push your site. Where can somebody go to get? Because I'm looking. I'm like, okay, it's like I want to go out after the show. I want to buy this. where can the listeners go? Can they order online? Where can they?
Yeah, I mean, we have a web store, RazorEmporium.com, and I've set up for your listeners a coupon code good through March 1st for 15% off your order using coupon code BEEFSTEW.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very nice.
So you can order through our web store. It's open 24/7, obviously, but if you want to come by and see me, a lot of customers in the Phoenix area want to kind of have almost a shaving consultation, and I can help make a shaving kit that's right for you using, what kind of brush is right, what kind of soap, what kind of razor, et cetera, et cetera. And so people can drop by our store as well at 24th Avenue in Peoria.
Nice. Awesome. Now, if someone has, and I brought this into you, and I told you I think I paid $5 for it.
Yeah.
And I was looking, I was fighting with my girlfriend. Where's my straight razor at, woman? And she said, it's where you left it, of course, because I lost it
in my purse.
Yeah, in my purse, exactly. I bought it for $5, and now I see why it's $5 because I've gone on it and I've done some. It's
chipped.
It's chipped. If someone has one like mine that's chipped, what can they do to get it repaired? Can they send it to you?
Yeah, and that's like I said, that's literally half our business is our services. And on the site, it's at the very far right side, the services tab, and that would be called our straight razor revamp. And a straight razor like that, especially if it's maybe grandpa's or some kind of historical significance, we can grind that blade back down and get it even again and grind that chip out and get it to be a shave ready razor again for you.
Okay, and then this will last me. How long do you think once I get this? How long? Will I pass away before this?
Yeah, seriously, you could literally hand that down to your kids, and that's the other thing people don't get is that this whole culture is such a interesting thing because it really is an heirloom culture. It's an heirloom quality, and what in our everyday life can you still use? I brought a straight razor in. Here it is. This is from Sheffield, England, from 1880s. Literally from the 1880s, and this is sharp. It's ready to be shaved with. Just to let you know, I don't want you to cut yourself.
Shiny.
It's original, horn handles. And it's from Sheffield, and this was the city of blades in the 1800s. And what other product can you continue to use after it's 150 years old? I don't know of any. Can you think of anything?
No, I'm just.
That is
absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and so that's what I love about this stuff. I love collecting it. I love helping to resalvage and restore it and sell it and get it out into the hands of people to use again because. Can you pick up an old car from the 1800s or 1900s and still use it? Probably not. Yeah. Can you pick up an old, briefcase? Maybe. It's probably going to be all tattered and beat up, but razors can be brought back to life. Yeah. And I love that about it, that it's just timeless.
I love this. I absolutely love this. So, for listeners to get started, you're going to 15% off with promo code BEEFSTEW. Mm-hmm. From looking at it, it doesn't look like it's not that expensive. The straight razors, but you're paying for quality.
Yeah, you're also paying for all the restoration work that you can buy the razor at the antique store for $5 or $10, but it's not ready to be shaved with. And so when we work on stuff, we just kind of build that into pricing. So a razor like that, we may sell a good starter razor for anywhere between $85 to $150 for a shaving razor like that. But guess what? That straight razor is going to be the last razor you own.
Yeah,
you're not going to be going to Costco and buying the 30-pack of cartridges for $45.
And that's what I wanted to hit on.
Yeah,
the money you're going to save.
Yeah, in the first year, you've paid it all off.
That's fantastic.
And even the shaving brushes should last at least 10 or 15 years.
Fantastic.
My personal shaving brush is from the 1940s.
Really? What's the difference?
I just like it. It has a really cool vintagey look, and I've cleaned up the hair, and that's the cool thing. Even the Badger brushes can be restored, and we even take old knots. We can take the old handle and put a brand new set of hair inside of it.
Okay.
So if you do have Grandpa's old razor or a old shaving brush, we can restore that as well.
I imagine Adam owns a 40-acre farm in Wisconsin, so he's partial to Badgers, and I know they've got a ton of. I don't think it's it's like walking back through a time machine, correct?
Yep.
So I know you said antiquing. I think I'm going to go back to Globe in Miami and see if I can find some stuff. But I'm literally going to buy something because I got to go to school, out in D.C. here in a couple months, and I don't want to spend as much as I know I'm going to spend on razors for 2 months. So,
and some of these products, I just handed you some Parasso, and that's an Italian shaving cream.
Okay, and
that has literally been made in Italy since the 30s. And you got to remember, a lot of other cultures, a lot of other countries have never lost this tradition. So this is literally a grocery store brand. That is something you buy at the grocery store for $3 or $4. I sell that for $10.
Yeah.
Here in the U.S., I import it, but this culture hasn't really left the European market, and it just left the American market for some reason. But wouldn't you want to start your day with that? and eucalyptus and menthol, that classic barbershop smell.
How do people? I mean, what's the best way to determine for a guy to? Okay, so I should use this soap or I should use that. So what's or is it just kind of trial and error?
It smells really good.
A lot of it. The biggest question I ask a customer if they call me or come in the store, the first question I ask is, do you have normal or sensitive skin? And it's kind of a weird question, but that really determines your entire course with shaving products. Some guys that suffer, because a lot of guys turn to the classic way of shaving because it's nostalgic and it's vintage, but a lot of guys turn to it, and that's how I turn to it, is because you have problems shaving with conventional products. The multi-blade razor may give you irritation, maybe give you razor bumps.
Yeah.
So these products are really good to combat that. So that's all I always ask. If you have sensitive skin, they make old school products for sensitive skin that have more natural ingredients in it that aren't going to dry your skin out. We may give you an aftershave balm that doesn't have alcohol versus an aftershave splash that has alcohol.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So that's always the first question is if you have normal skin, great, there's lots of products for you. If you have sensitive skin, there's lots of products for you as well, because this is really about not only getting a clean shave, but getting a shave that's going to be comfortable and that it's not going to give you any irritation along the way.
Awesome. I love it.
I'm at all right now.
Absolutely love it. So, real quick, I want you to plug how to get in contact with you. Website, email address, phone number.
Our email address is info@RazorEmporium.com, and our website, of course, is RazorEmporium.com, and our number is on the card, the 855 number.
855-264-1199.
Yeah, and I get a lot of calls. I actually had 3 calls while I was in your lobby waiting to come in here. A lot of guys call me, and they do want that shaving consultation by phone, and I will spend 10-15 minutes with customers on the phone and help walk them through the products that are right for them. And because there's so much information out there. If you get on the web, you start searching for shaving products, you're going to run into chat rooms, you're going to run into blogs, websites, videos, and it's overwhelming. And I like to try to take the approach of condensing it down, because I have been in this industry for 8 or 9 years now, and trying to get the no nonsense approach to this stuff. There doesn't need to be a million different products, a million different options. There's really just a few things that you can do that will improve your shave.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I hope we'll have you back on. Maybe Adam and I will purchase some products from you, and then cool. we'll have you come back on in a couple months and talk about it.
Yeah, and that's another big initiative I've been doing is a lot more YouTube videos. And it sounds like you watched one of my videos last night, and we actually just did. I had a beard as of last night. I had a full beard. I shaved it off last night with a straight razor. We did a video on that how to take a beard off with a straight razor, because education is key, and getting more and more YouTube videos out there and showing people how to do this stuff is absolutely essential.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Matt,
thank you.
Thanks so much. Awesome. RazorEmporium.com. You can ask information. Just go to info@RazorEmporium.com or call them 855-264-1199. Again, 855-264-1199. Matt, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. All right, folks, when we come back, we got WTF News. We'll take a quick break.
I'm Adam.
I'm James.
And you're listening to Vets On.